Welcome to the 3D Ghost universe, a place dedicated to 3D creation and 3D printing. In this video, we will talk about the settings option available in Cura and about the settings I'm using for my own creations. The settings options in Cura are available at the right side of the screen. You just have to click right here and then you will have a very simple screen that will ask you what kind of quality you want for the printing. You just have to change here and you will have the modification, automatical modification for the quality of the printing, and you will decide the infill of the printing if you want some supports and if you want an extra help for adhesion. Adhesion is quite complicated in 3D and I think it soon will become a nightmare for you if you are not really careful about it. So I will have a special playlist about adhesion, but you have to know that you have few options of adhesion in Cura. It looks very simple, it looks great, but to be honest with you, it's not enough to have good printing. So you will have to go to custom in order to access to more options about the setting in Cura. It could be very frightening because you have, I didn't count it, but maybe 100 of options. If you want to go right here with all, and you will have access to all possible options that Cura will give you, and it's a real nightmare. Even with the help of the add-on that will explain simply, very quickly to you what are all the options and the effect of the options, it's impossible to understand everything and to not lose yourself as a beginner. So what I highly recommend to you is to use very few options and it will be good. You are not a professional, you just want to print something good, but you are not a professional, you don't want to create crazy stuff. So for me, it's easier to go with only very few options. To have those few critical options, you will need to go to advanced. And it will be enough to have access to maybe the 8 or 10 options that you will need to simply print your modelization and your creations. So, take a look to the main option that you will have to change in order to decide what are the settings, the good settings for your printing. The first of all is the layer height. The layer height is working on the quality of the print that you will do. The highest the layer will be, the lowest the quality will be. So you can change it right here. But as you can see, you have some profile already existing, and I think it's better at the beginning to simply use the recommendation. If you want super quality, then you just have to click here, discard all the changes for the moment, and then it will automatically calculate and change other options regarding your decision to have a super quality. So you have 4 quality. What you have to know quickly, simply, if you have a smooth creation, you want to stay on super quality because it will have the more details. Okay, it will use a little bit more materials, it will be longer, but the realization will be great and you will be happy with your work. If you are working on something really simple as a box, a cube, you can go to standard quality. I think it's okay for that. I'm never using a low quality because if I'm printing something, I want to be happy with the results. So if it's a smooth piece, something that I like and that I want to use as a decoration, for example, it will be super quality. If you don't really care about the exact details, or if you don't need to have a lot of details because a cube is a cube, you can go to dynamic or standard. And once again, you don't have to decide by to change everything by yourself, you just have to click I want standard, I click on standard, and some others option will automatically be calculated. So for the moment we will stay on super quality. And that's all about the quality. You just have to change this layer height by changing the profile. And of course, because I'm talking about profile, you have to know that if you are really happy with one profile, you can save it and create it. If I change something, it will be available right here to create a new profile, a new settings, of course. Then you will have to talk about the infill, and the infill is the part where you decided how tough the inside, how hard the inside of your 3D printing will be. If you want to have a technical part, something that have to be very strong, of course you have to increase the infill. For a decoration, 20 is good. You can go to 10, and then you will be able to print quickly and to use less material. So I'm using 10 for small pieces, but you can go to 20, it's not a problem. And then once again, when you are changing that, it will automatically change other options, though you don't have to care about other thing. Just stay on infill. The other option that you can use in infill section is about what type of infill you want. As you can see with the add-on that we installed, you can see the various type of infill you could decide. Okay, my advice is to stay simple with grid, lines, or cubic, like you want. By default, it's cubic. Try. If one time you will have a problem with your creation, maybe you can change, but cubic by default is good. That's personally what I'm using. Then you will have to decide the temperature of your printing. And this is not something that you really decided, because it will depend on the material you are using and the recommendation of the brand you are using. Maybe you will find this information on the packaging, for example, as you can see on the photography. Build plate temperature or the bed temperature, it's the same thing. It's also depending on the material you are using, and you will have recommendation about it also on the packaging of your product as in the previous image. But I will also give you some advice in a specific video about adhesion. Right here you will have the possibility to change the speed of your print depending on your material. For example, with my 3D printer, I can go this high. If I want to go higher, Cura will explain to me that it's not possible with my printer. But to be honest with you, I'm not changing anything, because at the very beginning I try to change the speed because 3D printing could be quite long. So I change the speed and the results are a huge deception. So my advice to you is don't change anything about the speed, and if you want to increase the speed of your 3D printing, take a look at this video, because I talk about it very specifically with other changes that you can do, but don't touch the speed. It's my advice for a beginner. The next thing that you want to do is to enable retraction when you are printing, because without this option, your print will have some stringing between two parts. You can see that right here. If you don't want to have some hairs, some extra materials when the printer will move, when the extruder will move on the axis, you have to enable retraction, and by doing that you won't have a lot of things to clean after your printing. The next option that you will have to change is support. By clicking on generate support, you will have access to all the modification you can do to the support. Supports are really important in 3D printing, and I have a specific playlist. I invited you to take a look at this, and I will talk about the settings of support in these special sections. And then you will have access to the build plate adhesion information. Once again, adhesion is a very specific part of 3D printing, and I have a playlist about this, so I invited you to check it, and you will understand the various things that you have to do in order to create a perfect adhesion. And finally, if the last layer of your print is a plane, you will be able to enable ironing that will give an extra smooth aspect, a shiny aspect to your last layer.